thank you. You guys are a huge inspiration to me. 100, brother. Thank you, thank you. I'm showing you guys that I do read the comments. I sit here, I take a little bit of time. I want you guys to know like how much this means to me. Even though I don't get a chance to just go through and answer them because I am trying to grind and make these videos for you. Haha. Aspire to be better than you one day, big homie. Mr. Solo Designs, man, I hope you are better than me one day, and I'll aspire to be your standard. Thank you guys so much. One of the coolest guys on YouTube, man. I wouldn't be anything without y'all though. Man, I'm just doing what I do. I love to work on cars, so you know, I guess you become a master of something that you're passionate about. Crooked Crown Shop, I have one. I'll drop the link in the bottom of the video. You guys can look and see. I do have a merch shop. I'm still working on it, so there's some things available, but I will have more, I promise. Man, I'm loving this build series too. I'm glad y'all are feeling it also. Big love, guys, big love. All right, let's get into this video. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Good evening. As you guys can see, it's dark outside. I just got off work, and man, like looking in the camera, I look like burnt as hell. Man, being at work, like I've been sitting out in the sun, scrapping cars, doing stuff. You guys know that I work out at Sac City, and so like I've been out in the sun, and I am just like a lobster. So I apologize for that. I wanted you guys to know, I showed you guys that I was reading the comments because I really haven't had a chance lately to go through and answer them, type it out, and let you guys know that I am reading them. It does mean so much to me. Like every positive word in there, the kind words, everything you guys say, all the ideas, all the stuff you drop, all the people around the world that are watching these videos. I love y'all. Thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. I'm sorry that like I've kind of slacked off a little bit, and I know that I've slacked off a little bit as far as like, you know, answering the comments. It's just I've gotten like way busier, like with Mike's project, his LS, another LS. I'm not doing this right now. We're working on one LS at a time, but there's constant projects coming up along with work, home life, everything. It's just I've kind of slacked on it, but I wanted to make it apparently clear that you guys know that I do read them, that I love y'all. Like I look forward to making these videos and being able to see what you guys have to say and building this channel with you, as I always tell you. That being said, enough of this stuff right now. It is day 2. We are going to be getting into the transmission stuff for the LS swap. I'm going to go over everything that you need to prepare with the ISR kit to be able to get it ready to mate up to the LS3 engine. So that's what we're going to be working on today. It's not a whole real long list of technical stuff, so it's probably not going to take that long. But yeah, let's get into it. Okay, and coming over here, you can see that I have everything set up, laid out. I mean, production value, right? Like, I gotta make it a little bit like, I mean, it's on the floor of a garage, sorry about it, but I wanna kind of lay it out so you guys can see. First thing that I did is, we already have a new throwout bearing on this collar here, so I don't have to take the throwout bearing off and replace it. I did take it apart and clean it just to make sure everything on here is gonna be going back together like new. I'll show you how to assemble this. This is the clutch fork, and this is like the spring that holds it to that, but I'll show you how this goes on and this goes together. This is pretty easy. There's only one little thing we do have to do in the bell housing here, and that'll be to grind this hump down, because when we put the flywheel on for the engine, the flywheel actually gets dangerously close to this, and I think if you put it in all together, I think it actually starts to rub on here. So per ISR, you do actually grind this down. It's not a big deal. We'll grind that down. And this side will pretty much be ready. You don't really have to change much because it's really nice with the ISR kit. They will have a flywheel that bolts to the LS motor. You can actually use a factory 350Z clutch. So everything with the 350Z transmission will actually all go together. So the one thing we're not gonna do, we're gonna do this when we do the assembly video, mating the engine to the transmission. I will go over the plate, the flywheel, the dipstick, that type of stuff. That stuff is just last minute stuff because this will actually bolt to the engine and then this actually bolts to this plate. So there's really no point in taking it off the engine stand right now and doing it, but it'll be in the next video, I promise. Now coming back here, you can see that I have a couple things right here that are all laid out. This, we're gonna be actually taking off the rear shifter housing and we're gonna be putting the ISR one. It comes with this really nice bracket, this machined shifter housing. This will actually sit in here. It's got a new link that will actually go up here. We're actually gonna be removing the one off the 350Z here and then some of the hardware. So like I said, not a lot of stuff that we're gonna be needing to do. However, let's get started on it. So knocked down, this is about what it should look like. You don't have to take it down real far. You just have to get the hump over it. You can see when you look at it from the side, it goes away and the hump is actually way more towards the back now. You don't want to put a hole in this, so be careful with that a little bit, but just smoothed it down. You can see it makes a bunch of dust, so that's why I took this off, because I want to make sure that I'm able to clean everything, wipe it all down, get rid of all the dust, and then we're going to lube both of these up. I'll show you how to put it together, and we're gonna put the clutch fork in, and this side will actually be done. Like I said, really quick and easy. So you can see everything is blinging. It's nice and clean. There's no dust anywhere, especially the areas that are gonna have lube on it. Man, how good this is. Mike, you're welcome. Luckily for you, I'm super clean, neat freak. All right, so next, I grabbed some high temp disc brake wheel bearing grease. Blech, say that 3 times fast. Anyway, a high temp grease that we are gonna do. The first thing we're gonna do, for all my day ones, you'll know what I'm about to say. If you guys have watched all of my videos or watched the videos from way back when, especially in the garage, what's the one thing we do? We lube the shaft. Playing with Mike's shaft, lubing it all up. Make sure you get it all over the place. So, put it on the ball there. I am not making this any easier, huh? Anyway, you guys are never gonna look at it the same if you have to do this. But make sure there's plenty of lube on it. Main points are the pivot ball on the part where the throwout bearing rides, and then I put it on here just to kind of help keep it quiet for when it rides in the pilot bearing. So I'm gonna wipe my hands off real quick, and then we're gonna lube up the bearing, and I'm gonna show you the points on the fork that we can lube up also, and then we're gonna put it together. Okay, so the first thing I'll do on the fork is I'll just take a little bit, and on these ends right here, they're probably gonna be silver from the wear. I'll dab a little bit of grease there. I also will take a little bit, and in the ball end here, I'll kind of like just scrape a little. It's really not necessary on this end because that's where the slave cylinder will push. I like to do it just because metal to metal contact anywhere will eventually make noise. Then I'll come over here and I'll actually take some, this is the pivot ball in the transmission where it rides, so I'll also put some in there to make sure it's not a metal to metal contact, kind of just glide it in there. And then I'll take a little and I'll just put it on the top here. This is probably overkill. Anybody will tell you it's probably overkill at the tops here, but I don't like noise, metal to metal noise. So if I can avoid it, I'll take the extra step. So the fork is done. Now we will do just the inside here. Grab some and I'll kind of just rub it around on here. There's already some that's already on the shaft of the transmission, so you don't have to go nuts with it, but like I said, I don't want metal to metal contact. Sorry, I'm trying to make it up in the camera so you can see it. And then you can see where the fork will ride on here. You can see where it's worn. That's the other place that I'll also make sure there's just a little bit in there on both sides. You can actually turn this out of your way, dab it on there, and it's about ready to go together. So wipe my fingers off one more time, and then I'll put this together and show you how we're gonna put it in. All right, this isn't rocket science, so I'm sure you guys can probably already guess, but what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to lay the fork. You can see the balls up. Put one side in here, like so, and then pick the other side up and put it on like so, and leave it like that. So now, when this sits in here, you can see the bearing is away from this ball because it's actually going to be put on this way, and will push on. This will be where the input shaft is at, and then the slave cylinder, when it pushes, will push like this. So, see if I can do this with one hand. I want to be able to show you, but I'll kind of feed the bottom in here first, and then I'll pivot onto the shaft here. Sorry, it's kind of hard with one hand, so I'm trying to show you. But this will go here, making sure that it's still attached with the clip on there, and I'll kind of set it on there. The last thing we'll do is you'll push against here, and there you go. So I pushed against here on the part to make sure that it snapped into the ball. So it snapped into the ball there. This is in the boot, this is on here, and you can see if we modulate it here that it'll work normally. You want to make sure that it doesn't come off of here, that it's nice and tight on there. So if you want to run it back and forth a couple times, maybe put a little bit more grease on there, by all means do it, but that's essentially it. So now the bell housing part is done. Now we're going to move to the rear. All right, give you guys kind of a look how I have the transmission set up. You can see when we were doing the bell housing, I had the wood at the front to hold the front up. Now I have the rear up. If you guys have been following the series or you've watched any of my other videos, you would know why I have this piece of the cut-off drive shaft in here, because it's holding all the fluid back. I didn't drain any of the fluid. It's still good, brand new fluid in there, and I didn't want to lose it. So hence why I jacked this up so all the fluid runs down there. And we can take the plug out for right now, move it off to the side, because we're going to be taking this off. We're going to take off these 412s. There's one here, 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 and here. And we're going to take this off. That's what this is going to be replacing, but not before we modify the shifter. This sits way far back in the transmission hole here, but because the engine's so much bigger, it actually pushes it back. So we're actually going to have the shifter sit directly over this. This is actually going to move this far forward. So it takes off about this much. So let's take this off first. Okay, let those four out. Take this off. It's actually a pretty long piece, you guys can see. So with that off, now the next thing we're gonna do is, this is just a little U-joint. All these are is just kind of pressed together on here. So what I'm gonna do is I'll actually use like a screwdriver, and I'll pry against this side, just enough to take this shifter part off, to expose just this. We're gonna be leaving the U-joint inside because we are gonna need it for the ISR kit here. This will actually go just like that. Okay, so you can see this one's bent out. I literally just used 2 screwdrivers. I put them in the top and I pried against each other, and it pried it off enough to leave this exposed. There's no clips or anything that you need to take off. So now that this is exposed, I'm gonna clean it up a little bit. We're gonna use some of the high temp grease to make sure that this is all lubed up, and then we're gonna put the shifter part together, and we're gonna put this on, and we're gonna be actually done with this. So it's going pretty good, smooth. Like I said, not a lot of moving parts, but it's all necessary in order to make the transmission sit in the factory hole of the G35. Okay, one thing while I was cleaning these off, make sure that you don't take these caps off. You can see they move. There's actually needle bearings in there. If you drop this, you're never getting it back together. It will be a very big pain in the ass to do it. So make sure these kind of stay together. Just be real gingerly with them, clean them off. And like I said, now we're just gonna put a little bit of the grease on here so everything moves freely on each side. Put a little down there, a little up here. Make sure there's no binds, there's no issues. Okay. So the ISR one, you can see on each side, there's one that's a bolt, and then there's one, or there's two holes that are bolts, and then there's these. These actually will sit just in here, just like that. The other one will go on the other side, and then you're gonna use the two Allens here. You can see this one actually has an ear on it. So this one will go on here. And then these two Allens, you'll actually bolt it together. So pretty good setup, real easy to do. I'm gonna use a little bit of Loctite on these ones. You don't want these coming off because the shifter actually does hold it together, but you don't want these backing off and making it where this actually comes off the U-joint. So that'd be all bad. But yeah, so I'm gonna put this together and I'll show you the final product. Okay, you can see, I'm gonna tighten them down a little bit more. But that's essentially how that goes. When the shifter cup sits on top of here, you can see it'll line up for it to go through, and the shifter will go in there, and we'll use the bolt, the factory bolt, to hold it all together. So the last thing we're gonna do, like I said, I'm gonna tighten these up real quick, and then we're gonna put this on with this, but first we have to put this on because it actually bolts from the bottom. So this all will be together. We'll bolt it on here, and that will be that. Okay, so this is all tightened up. One thing to make sure, see how this sits? There's actually a slide groove right here. There's another one on this side. Make sure that you're putting it on the right side. You actually can put this together wrong, so just make sure that you set it where it needs to be, like that. So that way it's the same as this one. All right, we'll bolt it from the bottom. Okay, and on this shifter part, and on these bolts that actually hold from the bottom, it's really tricky to get to these in the car because the drive shaft comes through here. If these come loose, you don't want to be having to take stuff apart to fight it. So I actually put a little bit of red Loctite on the parts that are really hard to get to. There's no reason why this needs to come back apart again, so red Loctite will do the trick. All right, and so it should look like that. Everything's coming together nicely. So the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna set this up on here, and it'll sit like that. You can see that there's space under here. That's why there's spacers right here. So the spacers will go under, and then the bolt will go actually through all of it. Maybe give you a little better view like that. Those will just go off to the sides, like that. And then that's how the trans is going to look. All right, so everything bolted together. You can see transmission now is a stubby little bastard, ready to go on that monster. So just a little recap, stuff that we did. We ground this down. We packed and put grease for the throwout bearing. Made sure everything in here was clean. And then we did the rear shifter housing. We bolted from underneath. We also did the shortening of the shifter throw. And then we bolted this to this. So last thing, if you guys did have a plug in this or you have fluid in the trans, make sure you put it back in so that way you don't put it on the ground and spill it everywhere after all this work that you just did. The spare parts right here, you can discard them, throw them away, keep them, hang them on your wall, show your mom, whatever you want to do with them. So yeah, that's it for the transmission stuff. Like I said in the next video, I mean, we're gonna be pretty much putting it all together. Myke dropped off the headers. You guys wanna see the headers? Let me show you. Cerakoted black, super clean. These look so good from ISR also, but because of engine temperatures and stuff like that, we gotta like make sure that we either wrap them or Cerakote them. And the Cerakote from Lamar, he does just a beautiful job. So we have everything to be able to put this stuff together and then put it in the car. So that's gonna be the next video. I'm super stoked on that video because that means we're gonna make some real progress on this. Myke dropped off a Koyo radiator. So it's gonna have a new radiator. We also have some voodoo arms that we need to put on it. He's getting some Akibono brakes for this. I don't know if I was supposed to tell you or not, but little sneak peek, now you guys know. So we're gonna do big brake kit on this. I gotta do a fuel pump on it. But I mean, other than that, we are moving right along. Like I said, the next video is gonna be the exciting video because we're gonna get to see the engine in the car. But I hope this is helping you. I hope if you guys are watching this video series, it's not just to watch it, but if you guys do attempt this one day, you're gonna be able to follow along and you know, be able to put it together yourself. So anyway, it's late, I'm tired, I'm out of breath, it's hot. I don't know where the hell this summer came from already, but it's like 85 degrees in the garage right now. So I'm like even in shorts, I know, white ass legs, but anyway, so I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna edit, I need a shower. Yeah, but I wanted to make sure that I made this video, that we were able to keep on going on the Project LS G35 CTSG. It's not a CTSG though, like, because it's a LS3. I don't know, we're gonna have to work on the name. Anyway, yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys for all the love and everything that, like I said in the beginning of this video, like you guys really make it. It makes me want to grind, come home. Like I said, I had a full day at work, had stuff to do after work, and then I came out to the garage to do this because I really do love it that much. But I hope you guys have been well. I hope your families have been well, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video real soon. Much love, peace.